Trade war worries heating up. President Trump not letting up on his push for free and fair trade. In my exclusive interview with the commander-in-chief, he cites absent and unfair trade deals as the reason for this tough rhetoric.
Maria, we have trade deals. As an example, with China. We don't even have a trade deal with China. We don't have a deal. Nobody bothered to make a deal. And they'll charge 25% for a car, and we charge 2.5%. And you've used those numbers on your show, so I don't want to bore people. But we have we have the worst trade deals in the world. We lose money with everybody. You know, when somebody walks in and say, how much do we lose with this country? We lose with everybody.
This, as Axios has exclusively obtained a leaked Trump administration bill that would essentially blow up the World Trade Organization. Here now is Nick Johnston, Axios' editor-in-chief. Nick, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. And, of course, when your report first hit, it really moved markets on Friday. But then I asked Secretary Mnuchin about it, who basically said it's not true. The president may have said something like that in the past, but there's no real effort to leave the WTO. How close is this bill to actually becoming reality?
Now, that's a really great question. Now, first, we want to say that when the administration said this wasn't accurate, now we have the paper proof. We have the written documents that the administration, that President Trump requested, that his staff drew up. Now, that just explains where his head is at, I think, on this, on the WTO. Now, remember, there's a big gap between this piece of draft legislation and actually becoming law. President Trump's staffers have told him that it's dead on arrival if it goes to the House or the Senate. Some of his other aides, certainly Peter Navarro, think some Democrats would certainly be interested in changing these kind of trade rules, but we don't see anything of this actually becoming law. It's more of a better way of explaining, sort of giving some context to how President Trump views these organizations. He is opposed to all of them. He pulled out of TPP. He's renegotiating NAFTA, and he thinks the WTO is a bad deal for American businesses and workers. Well,
let's talk about the implications of this. This is a huge deal, should it become true.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's why markets reacted when we reported on Friday that the president wants to pull out of the WTO. This is the global framework which undermines, the foundation for all global trade. So the United States, the world's largest economy, pulling out of that would upend supply chains, would upgrade all global trade, which I think why people are so interested and concerned about it.
I understand unlevel, Nick, this is Dagan McDowell, where other nations charge us more on our imports than we charge on importing goods into the United States. But with the WTO, the United States, of cases we have brought as a nation, we win roughly 90% of them. So explain where the president's anger at the WTO is coming from.
You know, that argument is the exact same argument aides have brought to the president. And actually, the president has put out a report that he signed. I don't know if you read the entire thing. It was a staff report that made that exact same point. I think the president views this very broadly, as that all these deals have been bad for American workers, the types of voters that backed President Trump. Steel workers didn't get a good deal out of all these kinds of things. And so he looked at these data, and he says, these are not good deals. There's a great part, Maria, in the interview where he talks about the money coming back and forth. We know that that's what he asks aides all the time, about specific trade deficit figures for individual countries. And for almost all countries, they're negative to the United States, and that's why he thinks they're bad deals.
Nick, this is Morgan Ortegas. How do you expect the Democrats to play this, especially coming up into the midterms? Do you think, I mean, I don't see the Democrat Party, running as some sort of free trade globalist as well. So how are they going to play this for the midterms? That's really great. We haven't seen it come up as a big issue for Democrats in the midterms yet, but trade is a fascinating topic. We're looking for populist Democrats and conservative Republicans. That's where they can find sort of some kind of common ground. And that's what I think Peter Navarro, Trump's top trade advisor, wants to say, is where he thinks there could be actual political movement. Because if you find populist Democrats interested in these kinds of industries, they would be on the same page as Trump in fighting against these trade organizations.
And I think when Navarro ran for Congress back in the day, he ran as a Democrat. So that kind of maybe speaks to where his view on trade comes from, Nick. But on that note, when I hear any Democrat talking about how tariffs would be good and getting on board with the president's ideas, I just wonder if they're goading him to do even more because they know it would hurt the economy and hurt the Republicans.
I think that's probably a level of political jujitsu that's maybe too complicated for a midterm race. I think there are certain parts of both the Republican and Democratic Party that think the prior trade regimes, NAFTA, WTO, have been a bad deal for American workers, and that's why they're backing the president on tariffs.
And Nick, Mike Block here. Yeah, I hear WTO, and I think UN, WTO, globalism. This is one of these things that just acts as like this. It's a bad word, a bad acronym, if you will, when you're thinking about United States interests, even if the U.S. As Dagan pointed out, has been successful at WTO. Fact of the matter is, this bill leaks. It's being called dead on arrival if they try to show it into the House. Is this a ploy ahead of November? What is this really? Like, what's really going on here? Was there any realistic chance that this was actually happening, or was this conveniently floated? Are we going to hear something about, another organization that people don't like next?
No, I think it's true to say that this has a very essentially 0% chance of becoming law, but it's a very useful view into how the West Wing thinks. How does President Trump views these organizations? You mentioned sort of WTO as one of these bad words. Like, President Trump goes after all of these. He hates NAFTA, he hates the G7, the WTO, TPP. Like, he views a lot of these global organizations as not serving the people who voted for American workers and businesses, and that's why he's attacking them. And that's why I think it's important to write about this kind of bill, because it gives you a very clear framework of how the president views these organizations and how he wants to change
But
them.
he knows the midterm elections are a few months away. I mean, are the upcoming elections affecting his decisions when it comes to trade? He's had good instincts when it comes to the other side. He must know that if, in fact, we see a trade war going into the midterms, that would be a negative for him and the GOP, no?
I think if you look at some of the base voters who turned out for President Trump, they probably still view, like, we get a lot of emails to Axios.com saying, like, we support the president and what he's doing. We can't wait for Trump 2020. So there are certainly Trump supporters who view this very positively. On the midterms, I'm still looking at polling. I don't see trade at the top of anyone's list right now. I think the Supreme Court pick will be a much bigger part of the midterms. And I think for Democrat sides, they're looking at health care instead of trade.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Nick Johnston joining us there from Axios.